tam tam sujivam Advaitam Sabadutam Parijana Sayatam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Shah Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namo Suste Vanchakalpa Tarupasta Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. We welcome everyone to the daily Srimad Bhagavatam class. We are continuing our study of Canto 2, Chapter 9, text number 36. And I'll read the verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this verse is part of the Chatu Shloki, the four most important verses of Srimad Bhagavatam. Etavad eva jigyasyam tattva jigyasunatmanaha anvaya bhatire kavyam yat shat sarvatra sarvada. In the translation, a person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, must certainly search for it up to this in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. So Lord Brahma is being instructed directly by Lord Krishna in the science of Krishna, Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's a long purport discussing the importance of understanding Krishna and the process of understanding Krishna, which is by devotional service only. So the previous acharyas and His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada have commented, as they say, fluffing out the meaning of the verse. I'm trying to find exactly where we are. I think it begins here. With Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada, therefore, comments. Does anyone remember? Is that where we are? It's about halfway through the purport or 2/3 of the way. So I will read the purport by our ISKCON founder, Acharya, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It is one's mind that generates different kinds of bodies for suffering different kinds of material pains. Therefore, as long as the mind is absorbed in fruitive activities, the mind is understood to be absorbed in nescience, and thus one is sure to be subjected to material bondage in different bodies again and again, until one develops transcendental love for Godhead, Vasudeva, the Supreme Person. So who would like to describe, as far as they understand, what are fruitive activities? What does it mean to have our mind absorbed in fruitive activities?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can try.
Yes, sure.
So it is probably the karmas that we do to get a reward. So it is not for Krishna, but it is for ourselves, for our own sense enjoyment.
Yeah, very good. Would anyone else like to add some thoughts about fruitive activities? What is it our mind absorbed in fruitive activities?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Echoing on from what Mataji said, It's the same thing, really. We could only think of ourselves and our, what we want in this life, and we forget about Krishna and our aims and goals in life. It's just about enjoyment and satisfying material senses.
So could you comment on that a little bit further? You said focusing on getting what we want and material enjoyment. Can you say a few more sentences about that?
Yes, so
What we usually want? Yeah.
If I think of myself when I was working, it was all about career, getting at the top, achieving the best, having a nice home, material things, really. More or less
Being
what
happy,
yes,
isn't it? Being happy.
yes, without including Krishna as I should at that stage in my life. I was just too focused on the other aspects of material enjoyment.
Yeah. So that's what we are doing in this world, as Lord Krishna explains. Karshati, struggling. The living entities are struggling with the material energy. Uh, we want to be free of pain, don't we? A lot of what we do is to get rid of pain and fear, isn't it? Our stomach is growling, it hurts, or making noises. So we want to eat, and it's cold. We don't like the feeling of cold or heat. And so we act to, as you say, get the fruit of not suffering. Uh, the Vaishnava saints have pointed out, and I think we can appreciate a lot of what we humans think of as happiness is freedom from suffering, isn't it? We have a headache, we take some medicine. Oh, I'm happy now. We're working, it's not very much fun, so we look forward to going home. Now I'm happy. I'm not suffering. Happiness, a lot of happiness is we have to answer the call of nature. We have to use the bathroom. It's painful. And then we feel happy afterwards. Oh, I feel so much better, isn't it? So, a lot of happiness in this world is those moments or those periods of time when we're not directly feeling suffering. When people are often in anxiety, worrying. So if somehow they could, and isn't it, so many activities of this world, people do them to take their mind off the suffering or to take their mind away from the worry, isn't it? People say, I like to play video games. I like to watch the sports. I like to cook. I like to clean. I like to do this, play games and puzzles, paint, sing, horseback riding, so many activities. And really, if anyone disagrees, please say so. But a good portion, uh, you know, is, I like to do this. I feel happy. I'm not thinking about my problems. I'm busy painting and cleaning and cooking, and playing my video games and watching the television or taking drugs, whatever it is. It takes our mind away from anxieties and sufferings, isn't it? And perhaps there's also some positive aside from that. Even if we are happy, we may paint and we feel happy utilizing a creative propensity, or just fulfilling desires is in and of itself a kind of happiness, that I'm able to fulfill my desire, whatever the desire is. So in the fourth canto and other places of Srimad Bhagavatam, this fruitive activity in examples given in the narrative of King Barhi, Narada Muni, says that material happiness, it's like you're carrying something heavy. I'm sure all of us have carried something heavy some distance. So you're carrying something on this shoulder and it hurts after a while. So you move it to this shoulder, or you move it to the other hand, and you feel, oh, I feel so much better. But then after a little while, then this shoulder or your other arm or whatever it is, it begins to hurt also, isn't it? So fruitive activity has a lot to do with, as you say, as it was said, for our own pleasure, our own enjoyment, and to be free of suffering. So we're thinking that if I move the big bundle from my left shoulder to my right shoulder, if I change my job, if I change my house, if I change my car, if I change my relationship, then I'll be happy. And we may be temporarily. We may change a relationship, change a house, change a job, but there's always, after not a long time, again, we don't feel comfortable. And eventually we come to realize that there's no shifting that's going to be permanent happiness. No amount of shifting. And so Srila Prabhupada writes here, the mind is understood to be absorbed in nescience or ignorance, and thus one is sure to be subjected to material bondage in different bodies. So, of course, there is no fault in wanting to be happy, to be wanting to be free of pain and suffering. But the thing is, how is that going to be truly accomplished? In ignorance, we're thinking, let me adjust. Let me make an adjustment. Let me get a different pillow, a different blanket, a different heater, whatever it is. But it just means until we get rid of this material body, there's going to be suffering. So in the fifth canto, Vrishabhadev, Maharaj Vrishabhadev, very, of course, they're all important instructions, but it is a specific section about this, how to be happy, really. So he said to his sons, his 100 sons, like a good father, he was instructing them. And actually, he is Shaktavesh Avatar, Rishabhadev. So he was saying, that for as long as we have this material body, there will be suffering. And so the real solution is to get rid of this body and to stop trying to adjust so much, to reduce the focus on adjusting. Different job, different relationship, different pillow, different house, different this, different that, moving from the shoulder to the other shoulder. How we can go back home, back to the spiritual world, right? How we can get permanent, no more headache. This is intelligence. This is sharp human intelligence, and this is the goal of human life, is to fix our suffering 100%. And so we are so very fortunate to have the Om Jnana Timirandasya Ginankana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmulitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Jnana Timirandasya. To have the association of a genuine spiritual master connected to Lord Krishna, who can instruct us how to become permanently free of suffering. Srila Prabhupada writes, and thus one is sure to be subjected to material bondage in different bodies again and again until one develops transcendental love for Godhead, Vasudev. So this is our prime goal. Krishna Prema Pumartho. Artha is the goal. It means goal, the work, prema. We want to work for prema, to revive our attraction for spirit, so we can go home, back to Godhead. We will go back to the spiritual world as soon as we want to, sufficiently. So this is something to practice, because it's a habit. We all have a habit of just of wanting to be happy here forever, and it'll never work. Our mind is very used to that. If I could just get home and sit in my chair and watch the telly and have something to eat, then I'll be happy. If I can just get this medicine, then I'll be happy. I just get this, pass this college examination, get my degree, everything will be wonderful. No. And it is an accomplishment. It's not nothing. And no one is saying, the spiritual master Krishna is not saying that we have to deliberately suffer with a headache. No, we can make some little adjustments, of course. But, if the example, someone jumps in the river to save the woman and comes back with her purse and she drowned. So that it's not nothing. I mean, it's not that the purse isn't anything, but the woman drowns. So it's a matter of priority, right? So there's no harm making effort, taking some actions to facilitate our devotion to Krishna. But we should never lose track uh, of what we're doing, of the ultimate goal of life. So Srila Prabhupada writes, to become absorbed in the transcendental name, qualities, form, and activities of the Supreme Person Vasudeva means to change the temper of the mind from matter to absolute knowledge, which leads one to the path of absolute realization and frees one from the bondage of material contact and engagement in different material bodies. So we need to practice this. As Lord Krishna says in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, at the very beginning of Bhagavad Gita, that one who is equal in happiness and distress is eligible for liberation. One who is equal, not terribly disturbed by pain, difficulty, and not overly elated, overly carried away by temporary victories and accomplishments and happiness, but who is equal, sama. In Lord Chaitanya's teachings to Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu speaks about this, that this is the beginning of bhakti. If we don't practice this, being equal, or better to put it the other way, as we practice this equal being tolerant, titiksha. These two qualities are described as two of the most important qualities of saintly people, of bhakti yogis, titiksha and karunika, tolerance and compassion. So titiksha, then this will greatly empower us to be successful and to stay on this path back to Krishna our whole life. There have been many, well, I don't know about many, but there have definitely been a good number of fall downs in recent history, all throughout history, but in our ISKCON society and elsewhere, other spiritual paths, uh, because the foundation of devotional spiritual strength was not sufficient. If we try to um, avoid this standard part of yoga and think that we can focus upon prema and ava and devotional love, uh, we run a very great risk of falling down. This titiksha is so important. Tolerance, because there's so many things we have to tolerate. Sometimes there are insults from others, and people are not in a good mood, and they're difficult to deal with other people. Dealing with other people is probably a majority of our difficulties, isn't it? Aside from physical pain, and then physical pain, we have the headaches and stomach aches, and sometimes we have chronic illness and sex desire, desire for eating, sex, and money, and so many desires. So as we develop this ability to tolerate, it will save us from so much uh, more suffering, right? Because sometimes people will say something to us, our children, our parents, our spouse, and it could really go the wrong way if we don't hold our tongue, right? And then there's so many desires. Sometimes there are criminal desires, sinful desires, sexual desires, very prominent in human life. But if we can tolerate, just let them, as Lord Krishna says, let them come and let them go. Uh, in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked Lord Krishna, he said, well, what are the symptoms of transcendence? Tell me, what is the thinking pattern of someone who is transcendental to the modes of material nature? And Lord Krishna answered that a number of things, but one or two, that again, one who is equal when there is the mode of ignorance, the mode of passion, the mode of goodness, who is neutral, not too excited when we have some good food or it's a nice day outside or we get some salary increase or whatever it is. Certainly we're not impersonal. We don't say everything is false and everything is rotten. No, I got an increase in my salary. Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Krishna. But I could still leave this body tomorrow. And where would I go? You know, and some headache or some botheration, some unwanted desire. So we put our mind towards Krishna and just let it be practice. Just like when you have an itch, all of us, I'm sure, have had itching skin. And if you scratch, what happens? Someone say, what happens? You scratch, then what? What happens? Come on, someone must know. Someone say something. You get mosquito bite and you scratch. What happens? Am I all alone or what's going on?
The skin breaks down and it gets sore. And
Hurts worse.
Irritable, itchy, very itchy.
So really, I mean, I've experienced if you can somehow ignore it, it will go away. That itching will go away. Who has experienced it? Any kind of itching, a rash, anything. Anyone? Anyone tried this? No? Well, you should try it. Or anything. Sometimes we have desires. I want a biscuit. I want a biscuit. I want a biscuit. Something. But if you just somehow busy your mind some other direction, it'll go away, usually. Any desire. It may come back, but then if you indulge it, right? See, that's the thing. So any kind of itching. That's why we say icha dvesha. Icha in Sanskrit means desire. So very often we fulfill desires and then the desire just is stronger. So Lord Vrishabhadev, he advises to his 100 sons that we just try and stop paying attention to these desires and they will eventually go away. Just like if you have a fire and you stop putting fuel in, you stop putting pieces of wood, the fire will go out, won't it? Everyone has had outside fire with bush, sticks, wood, gas. You stop giving it fuel and it will go out. So Lord Vrishabhadev says, Tapo divyam puchakajena sattva, that this human form of life is meant for tapasya. And that tapasya will purchase us brahmasokyam. We cannot have very much spiritual joy, brahmasokyam tvanantam, if we're too busy trying to make everything happy with our material body. But rather we have to focus on our inner spiritual identity and the spiritual identity of Krishna. As Srila Prabhupada says here, to become absorbed in the transcendental name, qualities, form, and activities means to change the temper. So we practice, and it is practice, that instead of reaching for the intoxication or the liquor or the food or the sex or the television or the this or the radio, whatever it is that we usually do to be happy, we practice absorbing our mind in bhajan and Krishna's holy names, kirtan, japa, meditating on the deity, the temple deity of Krishna. We practice just letting our body be, just letting our problems, just let them be. Stop trying so hard to fix the relationship, to fix things. Just turn down the volume and just let destiny, put it in the hands of Krishna. Whatever Krishna allows to happen, that's what's going to happen. And if I remain too, if I don't stop trying to fix everything and make everything nice, I'll stay here and I'll come back in another body and then I'll keep trying to do that. Let me focus on going back to Godhead, back to Krishna. Let me stop my suffering completely and becoming a little, I don't like to use the word callous, but Srila Prabhupada uses this word callous. Not totally callous. It doesn't mean unfeeling, but just with wisdom, not trying to fix this material world and fix my life. So again, it's not that we should deliberately, we should not deliberately suffer, and then we're too disturbed in our mind to think of Krishna. I mean, we're all at a certain point. Lord Rishabhadev, Jud Bharat, Srila Prabhupada, Prahlad Maharaj, so many great saints, Lord Nityananda, uh, Vaishnav saints, recent times. They really didn't care what was happening with them. And not just that they didn't care, but their mind really wasn't bothered. Whatever's going on with the body, that's what's happening. Whatever's going on with my family, whatever's going on. It's not my real life. Neither can I fix everything. And let me go back home. Krishna wants me back in the spiritual world. So, uh, not, it just means less focus. That's all. Less focus. Does anyone have any questions or discussion about this? You know, it's like when you're on a train, you're going to a destination. There's no harm. It's not sinful to get something to eat and get a pillow, but we just don't forget where we're going. That's all. And we don't spend so much trying to fix up our train compartment with pictures and make it all comfortable. You may have to sweat and it may be hot for a few hours. What are you going to do? So we practice. It is practice. Thinking of Krishna. So that at the time of leaving this world, we'll be practiced. You see, we will all meet with that point of transferring, the transfer station. We're going to get off this body, all of us. And so we want to practice that. We want to practice transferring uh, so that we can won't be as disturbed as we might be otherwise and be able to think of Krishna. Does this make sense? Does anyone disagree with this program? Going back to Godhead? No more death, no more birth, no more coming back to earth, no more suffering, dancing with Krishna, eternal life. Sounds good to me. But not everyone is ready. And even me, all of us, where we all have, according to Lord Krishna, we all have some, there's still some hope. We all have some little hope. Well, maybe I could be happy if I could just have this and have that. If I could just move to that country, then everything will be good. If I could just, right? There's still some little hope. So it takes time. It takes time to become free of that. So for each of us, we may require more. Some of us have made advancement in this life and previous life that we can live incredibly simply with hardly anything, and we're very happy, peaceful. And some of us are not yet at that point, and we need more. Uh, more comfortable situation to have our mind peaceful. So we're all at different points, and whatever is useful for one person is useful for that person. We should not criticize anyone, neither but we should push ourselves to not try and make our mind happy by material adjustments always, but practice tolerating. Just let it be. Let the suffering be, and focus on Krishna. Practice, practice. One who is equal in happiness and distress is eligible for liberation, Krishna tells Arjuna. And that will help our whole life, that ability. You know, people who are disturbed by every little bitty thing. Oh my God. I mean, I have had my moments in life, but I'm sure all of us can think of someone, or maybe we can think of someone who just every little thing is just, just, and they're miserable. They're miserable. You become much more peaceful when uh, you practice um, tolerating. Oh, all right, it's hot, it's cold, it's this, it's that, oh, whatever. More peaceful. You can think more clearly, peacefully. So I'll stop here. It was a very practical beginning when we're having our morning sadhana, or any time that we have our sadhana, we're chanting or whatever it is. There's so many distractions and disturbances and this and that. Just practice. I'm going to, doesn't matter what happens. I'm just going to chant. And to hell with this body and to hell with this mind for an hour. I'm just going to chant and listen to Lord Krishna's holy name. I mean, within reason, of course, no one should torture. But we just practice that. And that will carry the whole day. The whole day will be different just by that yoga practice. Anything? Should we close the meeting? Are you all there?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you for the wonderful class. Apologies, I joined a bit late, but just on the point of tolerance, Prabhuji, is there a cut-off point as to, how much should we tolerate? And how do we make the judgment that yes, it's best for me now to tolerate, but at other times it is not good for me to tolerate, and this is the time when I really need to speak up or go against.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
how
good
do
question.
you realize
Well,
that?
when our mind is too disturbed for too long, weeks and weeks or months, uh, and it's just we're honestly really disturbed and not happy to practice Krishna consciousness for some days or some weeks, and then we should make some adjustments so for us we can serve Krishna more peacefully. We shouldn't. Suppose serving in some you're living in some temple which is very, very cold all the time, and you're really cold. your mind is really disturbed. It goes on for days, and you try and tolerate. Oh, let me just try and talk. But then, it just it's obvious after some days or some weeks. This isn't working. I need to transfer to a warmer place. So, when our mind is so disturbed or such that we really can't focus on Krishna very well, and we're not peaceful. Peace in Krishna consciousness is important. Then we should make some adjustment, whatever that is, may be.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Just like a brahmachari or anyone, woman, man. So better I don't get married, better I don't get married. Every time you see children, oh, I want children, I really want children. No, there's so much entanglement. Let me just focus on. But then for weeks and months, years, uh, it's obvious that it's not something that's going to go away. And so I need to make some practical arrangements so I can satisfy my desire and in a positive way, you know. I'm only going to eat rice and dal for the next 3 months. And every time you see other kinds of food, you're just looking and you're thinking about, so that's artificial. Maybe you try that for some days or a couple of weeks, but it should become obvious that this isn't for me. Maybe I have just dal and rice 3 days a week, and then something else. So we have to find our point. We have to find our point, and of course, it should all be within the four regulative principles. But even within that circle, each of us, it may be different. It will be different. Is that helpful? And we can ask a mentor or friend. We can ask them, well, what do you think?
Yes, Prabhuji, that's helpful. Thank you very much. Yes.
I told a story and something a couple of times. But yeah, there was this one Mataji. So she was living in the temple. She was single with a child, and she was difficult to relate with. She was always in anxiety and kind of irritable, so many things. And so one day she asked in class, she said, well, how much should we be like the gopis? The gopis don't ask Krishna for anything. And, should I be like that? So the reply was something like what I said, because really she wanted to move out. She wanted to have her own flat and be with her child. And that's what she wanted. And it's probably good and she did. Shortly after that, somehow she was able to move out. And she was so much more happy and peaceful and coming to so that was good for her. It was good, not just, oh, let me tolerate, let me be a gopi, let me be a maha yogi. And then you're just making offenses because you're in a bad mood. Or you're really kind of like criticizing Krishna in your heart. You're angry at him. Oh, why do I have to suffer? Then it's time to make an adjustment, whatever it is. Okay? Be happy. We're supposed to be happy. Devotional service is meant to be performed in a cheerful mood so that we want to serve Krishna cheerfully. We don't want to be in an irritable, bad mood. And what is this Krishna consciousness? Oh, it's so difficult. you know. So within the circle of the four regulative principles, we find our spot. And whatever helps, we shouldn't think, oh, this is sense gratification. It may be. It may be. You may, who knows? Someone may watch television for a little while. Is it sense gratification? Yes. But that's where I'm at. That's me. I'm not a transcendental Haridas Thakur. who can, sit in the hot sun, chant all day, 300,000 rounds. That's not me. And for right now, helps me along, you see. So it's with awareness. Oh, I'm doing this thing. I'm going to go to the museum. I'm going to look at the paintings. I'm going to take an hour, 2 hours, and just do something different. And I come back and I feel relaxed and innocent, you know. Is it sense gratification? Yes. Is it acting like a sannyasi? No. Am I a sannyasi? No. You see? We even have to be careful of our own mind, what to speak of other people's minds and their criticisms. Whatever's helpful for my life, I do in the course of going back to Krishna. Even I heard someone, it was kind of humorous. I actually heard it long time ago. One brahmachari asked another, so are you going to get married? And the boy just spoke his mind outright. No, people would think I'm in Maya. Maybe so, maybe you are in Maya, but what are you going to do? Not make the right decision because of what other people are thinking? That's not good. Trying to, what do they call it? Cutting a profile. And we're not really being honest. Anything else? Even this point about offering Krishna food. It is said in the Shastra that one should offer Krishna what one really enjoys eating. So then someone may say, but then you're offering Krishna just so you can eat it. Maybe. But if you really like it, then why not offer it to your best friend? You know, if you like blueberry scones or you like some muffins or whatever it is, wouldn't you want to offer that to your father, your mother, your friend? Oh, here, this is a nice thing. I really like it. You have some. So that's very real. You see, it's very real. You might say it's human. Not that I don't like this thing. I wouldn't eat it if you paid me, but I'm going to offer it to Krishna. Why would you want to offer it to Krishna? Of course, sometimes we do, but I'm just making the point. Just be real, be honest. As Lord Krishna himself says, better a sweeper in the street, just a humble janitor or housemaid. I like Krishna. I want to go back to Krishna, and I'm doing the best I can. And that's it. And Krishna will appreciate that. And of course, we push ourselves to make the right decision. That will give us strength. If we too much try and act, if we indulge in sense gratification too much, or if we try and artificially act renounced, we'll become weak. That's the example of Gajendra the elephant and the crocodile. And Srila Prabhupada makes this point, that the more we are truthfully situated, the more mental strength we have, because we won't be using our mental strength to put on a show or hurting our mental strength by acting sinfully. Either one. So I guess that's it. We're past time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I would also like to welcome Rinki Roy today. It's the first time she's joined today, so thank you, Rinki, for joining.
Thank you.
And if we can all unmute ourselves to glorify Prabhuji with the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayeva patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. With praise Dina Sharana Prabhuji ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji.
All
Thank
glories to the assembled devotees. Thank you for having me in your association. I greatly appreciate it. It's my good fortune. I wish everyone well, and I hope everyone has a good week.
Same to you,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.